best boxing content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
And there is Antwone Smith. He is 7 years younger and 4 inches shorter than Kermit. He goes 5'7", 148 and a half, a 20-win veteran. And there's a familiar face, Kermit Cintron, the former IBF welterweight titleist. Cintron is 31 years old, 5'11", came in at 149. A month ago, he was heavily favored to beat Carlos Molina. Instead, a lackluster night. No one really has a good explanation for it. So, Bernard, we look at his notable fights. Had the challenging fights with Antonio Margarito. Had the draw with Sergio Martinez. Toppled the then unbeaten Alfredo Angulo. And last year, had that odd ending of falling through the ropes onto the ringside floor against Paul Williams.
Yeah, I remember that fight like it was yesterday. I think he mentally gave up on that fight and didn't want to go and challenge that adversity and lost the fight by TKO. But that fight there, I remember the Paul Williams, and you know, mentally, I believe he gave up, like I said.
Well, we'll see what his mental composure is tonight. They are scheduled for 10, and Mike England is the referee.
Instruction in the dressing room. I expect a tough, clean fight. Obey my commands at all time. Anything below right here is going to be a low blow. Same thing right over here, guys. Low blow. Let's make sure we keep them up. Touch them up right here. God bless you. Come out fighting.
What was I just asking you about a fight ago about the pre-fight instructions and the final stare at your opponent? Smith looks straight down. He actually lowers his head and stares at his feet.
Yeah, he didn't want to look in Cintron's face, and maybe that's his own reasons to look down, just to throw Cintron off. But one thing about it, you're going to have to fight.
Of course, you were once opposite your promotional partner, Oscar De La Hoya, who would do the complete opposite. He would look to the sky.
Exactly. Everybody got their own thing, but when the bell rings, you have what you have here.
Give me something to look for early on out of Kermit, Bernard.
Well, first, you got to get off first. He's pumping that jab. And he's going to do that. He'll fill out round, but not too much of a laid-back round. And he has to go ahead and get that respect early, and that what makes a fight.
Kermit able to land to the body to start things off, and he tries to test it again with that left hand, trying to get underneath that right elbow of Smith.
You know, Smith, he wants to get in close. He wants to get close to Cintron, and he wants to work his body. I can tell the way he's like focusing his midsection, and he's letting him throw punches, and he wants to get in close. And that's his fight. That's his style, and that's his fight. That's the way he's, you know, he likes to get in and work from his previous fights.
It's a jab from Cintron, and then Smith able to get underneath that right hand. See, steady work of the jab from Kermit. That's something that when he talked to us yesterday, he said he really has to commit to tonight.
Yeah, because he got away from that. He feels that he got away from that, especially the last fight in July. So that sets up everything. That's the basics of boxing, the jab. And then you can create a lot of other things that come after that jab.
You know, the type of night he had against Carlos Molina, simply just doing the basics, simply out there pumping the jab, is a good sign for him.
Well, it gets his rhythm, and it gets his confidence, and then he gets to work the right hand to the kidneys or liver, and you know, he sets things up. But that's been Kermit. That's been him. That's been Cintron. He likes to work at that jab. He's tall. He's lean. He likes that type of distance type of fight, and then you know, he lets everything go.
Well, it's a pretty good body shot that you noted moments ago by Cintron. Smith taking those little half steps forward as Cintron is trying to meet him with consistent work from that left jab, just putting it out there. Smith now on the inside. What do you make of that amateurish bark from Smith upon throwing every punch?
Well, one thing, you know, every time he makes that bark, something is coming. So if I was Cintron, I would go ahead and time it.
Absolutely.
I would throw a punch right when he make the bark.
Active first round, both men getting to work here. Smith and Cintron, end of one. perhaps the most entertaining of Friday night fight season that we can ever remember. Round number 2 of Cintron versus Smith. Joe Tessitore ringside with Bernard Hopkins. Bernard, I laugh putting up Grady Brewer, Andrade, and Lundy Diaz because when we were having breakfast this morning, you said, "Where is that card? Is that card in Philly?" You wanted to go to that card.
Yes, it's a Philly guy on the card, and you know what? Both of those co-main event could be a main event anywhere.
Oh, Hank Lundy, who's from your hometown in Philly, taking on Diaz. Diaz, of course, a recent titleist, a guy that's been in there with Morales and Pacquiao. And Grady Brewer at 40 years old. Now, I know you got to respect this. Grady Brewer at 40 years old just knocked out one of the blue chip prospects in the sport, Fernando Guerrero. Now he comes back and faces Demetrius Andrade, who give Andrade credit. He's taken a big step up.
That's the 40 club. The 40 and up club is very alive in the world, in America. And listen, young guys better watch out. We on the move. We got a movement.
So that is next week on Friday Night Fights. We look forward to that. Cintron trying to split that guard with the right hand and then committing back to the jab. As Smith, as you said, trying to close that gap and get some things accomplished at close range.
Absolutely. Smith can't win the fight outside. He knows that. And his style is inside. He's making more bark than more punching, though. And, you know, a lot of that is based on intimidation. He's trying to show Cintron that he's punching hard, but really he's not punching hard.
I like that combination by Cintron, mixing in the left hand to the body in the midst of that 4-punch combination moments ago.
Smith did do an uppercut, which was a good combination, but it was nothing behind it. He got the punch in, but it didn't do too much damage because Smith didn't follow up with other punches.
He was waiting on that right hand that time. There's a well-placed right hand to the body by Cintron again.
And again, this seemed like it's going to be like in-your-face type of fight. Both guys got to throw punches to try to get in. And endurance and conditioning is going to play a role when the fight goes further.
Well, Cintron, when he lost the fight on July 9th, he said that on the plane ride home, he had already made up his mind that he was going right back to the gym and wanted the next available fight. That was 4.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I commend him again for that because, look, he could have sat around and harped on a loss and, you know, found excuses not to come back. I mean, he's a family man. He has a lot of pride in Reading. And you know what? He wants to come back like a beginner fighter, a fighter that has 8, 9 fights. They normally come back right away. He coming back right away to clear his mind, to get back in the race again, and to let people see this fight as the fight that they want him, that he wants them to remember, not the last one.
End of 2 here in our main event. Joe Tessitore and the light heavyweight champion of the world, Bernard Hopkins, in for Teddy Atlas this week, ringside on Friday Night Fights. There's Kermit Cintron. When he was a child, he lost both of his parents growing up in Puerto Rico. 2 sisters, 3 brothers. His mother, Josephina, passed away from breast cancer when Kermit was just 8 years old. He moved to Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, not far away from you, Bernard. And he was living with his uncle Benji Serrano there. And not soon after, when he was 13, his father died of a heart attack when his dad was just 43 years old. So Cintron has had a lot to overcome in life. He worked his way up through the ranks, fought on ESPN pay-per-view and was broken down by Antonio Margarito, and then went on to claim the IBF welterweight title. But now another obstacle to overcome because he's coming off an upset loss. This is a real critical juncture in his career.
Oh, definitely. It's a crossroad fight for him, and he knows that. That's why he wanted this fight so soon. And, you know, he's been through a lot of tough things in his life, and you know what? When you're a professional and you're an athlete, boxing, you normally can take that adversity and turn into a positive and motivate yourself, and I think that's what he's doing now. You know, I know Cintron from, you know, way back in Philadelphia sparring and worked with him a couple times in the ring. We sparred and I helped him, he helped me. But he got the heart, man, of Reading in Pennsylvania. So I'm looking for good things of him, but he has to make a statement tonight. And right now he's winning the fight, and he's taking and he's giving, but he's learning. He's learning still, but he also got to get that confidence back there.
Behind the head, don't lean down on him. Behind the head.
And when I like warning from Mike England there, behind the head.
Yeah, it was a behind the head shot. And I like he didn't take a softie. He didn't take someone he can just run over and say, okay, I'm back in the business again.
Right. I mean, Smith is a guy who's been an upset kid on ESPN. He had 4 straight upset victories on our air. We told you about what he did with the Mexican national amateur champion Norberto Gonzalez. He also stepped up. His most accomplished opponent at the time in May 2009 was Richard Gutierrez. It was Antwone's first scheduled 10-rounder, and he really looked very good that night. Grew up in Miami, he's fought a lot in South Florida. He himself, Antwone Smith, overcame adversity as a young man. He ended up being raised by his current manager, Donnie Herron. Now the work on the inside is they're shoulder to shoulder.
I mean, they both giving and taking good shots. I mean, this is a clean, sharp, earning your points and earning your punches in a way where they earning any shots that they have or get. And Kermit just got hit with a right hand just now. And so he's turning around hitting with Williams with the jab. I mean, he's with jab. It's just...
We're going to take a break here at the end of round 3, but when we come back, I got to ask you about this Monica Seles-esque grunt out of Smith and the effect it has. That's when we come back. Stay with us.
If the opponent, Cintron, catches on, he would punch as soon as he makes those grunt noises because, hey, something is coming after that. After the grunt, you know something is coming. After 2 or 3 rounds, you hear that, you know he's not going to stop. So every time he grunts, if you watch, he always throws a punch. I would throw a punch. As soon as he grunt, I would throw a right hand, uppercut, doesn't matter. I would throw a punch in between the grunt because he's letting air out to throw that punch. That means that he's trying to suck in more air.
Well, let's discuss that point a bit because that's a very good point. You make an analysis in terms of the strategy against the guy that makes that grunting sound upon throwing every punch. But what about the actual physical conditioning and the effect it can have long-term over 10 rounds? If you're grunting, you're exerting like that every single time you throw a punch.
Well, he's been doing this in training. He just didn't start this tonight. He's been doing this while he was in training. Antwone is used to doing it because I've seen guys do that, and they do it for reasons. They do it for a couple of reasons. One is, A, tired. B, they're so used to a rhythm. And if he don't do it, he's not in his rhythm. This is a rhythm thing he's doing. He's doing it because he's used to doing it. He's doing it in training. He do it every time he spar. And so he's accustomed to doing it. And Cintron has to punch when he does it, and he can be able to time him and be able to capitalize it and use it against him.
See them picking up the pace a little bit on the inside. The CompuBox numbers favored Cintron at this point of round number 4.
But Cintron got hit with a couple of shots too. He got hit by Smith by a couple of shots, Antwone that is. And he's throwing a left hook, but he's not putting 3 or 4 punches behind the left hook.
Good job doubling up that left hand by Kermit that time. Now the right hand splits the guard, tried to place the left hand to the body, goes to the belt line with it. Smith matches him, answering on the inside.
They both are throwing combinations knowing that they got to get their punches in and out at the same time because both of them are reacting very, very smart when they throw punches.
Left hook upstairs from Cintron, then backs out, working that jab.
Cintron get hit every time he backs out without a jab or with his hands down.
Now Smith doubling up that jab as a way to get through that front door. Cintron and Smith coming to the end of round number 4, scheduled for 10. Ronnie Shields was nearby. I know you went over Bernard and had a chat with him. You came back, you said, he's not a trainer, he's a teacher.
It's absolutely, Ronnie Shields, I have a great respect for him. And I don't give anybody that title in boxing because everybody don't deserve it. There's a difference between a trainer and a teacher. The Emmanuel Stewart's teacher, Nazim Richardson, teacher, Freddie Roach, teacher. And there's a few more I can mention. Teachers and trainers are totally different. Anybody can be trained.
Our teacher, Teddy Atlas, is over in Russia right now, prepping Alexander Povetkin. That's why Bernard Hopkins, the light heavyweight champion of the world, is sitting ringside with us. You got brother Nazim in your corner. You got Manny Stewart with Chad Dawson. So this is little bit of a chess match among the trainers come October 15th, isn't it?
It's a lot of PhDs running around in the air.
There are a lot of doctors of the sweet science.
That's right.
In your light heavyweight title fight. Cintron now a little more content to be on the inside. He had such success in round 1 with the jab, Bernard.
Absolutely, but he abandoned the jab in a couple of rounds because now he's fighting an inside fight, which is Smith's fight. Antwone is good at being inside, peekaboo style, mind you of the floor, mind you of Floyd Patterson, how he crouched down and come in with his hand. But you know, Cintron seemed to be stronger, but he seems also to be waiting a little longer to get off his punches, and that's why Antwone is starting to dig down to the liver as he just did with the left hand. It's an inside fight. I think Cintron should be fighting a little bit more, just a foot back, maybe 2.
I agree.
He's not using his height. He's a taller.
No, he's smothering himself.
He's smothering himself, and he's not getting the leverage that he needs to get the power in.
And with a little bit of separation, you saw Smith was able to land that 2-punch combination. Now Cintron trying to target that left hand to the body, just missed with the uppercut. But this is more at the real estate that Smith would prefer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a slightly shorter fighter, and he can get inside of Cintron's reach, and that makes him get a good advantage. That was a good uppercut, but again, Cintron don't have the leverage because he's smothering his punches, as you said, Joe, earlier. This is the distance you need.
Right there.
That's the distance you need.
And then Smith closes the gap immediately. There's that jab from Cintron. Now he takes a walk out the side door, tries to draw him in just a bit, and back shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest. So things have changed a bit here in the middle rounds. We got a good one brewing in our main event as we come to the halfway point scheduled for 10. Stay with us.
329. That's a lot of rounds. I need a knockout. I'm tired of going all these rounds like that. I need a knockout. I got to get a knockout. October 15th, HBO pay-per-view.
At 46, the oldest man to ever win a world title. Poor George Foreman. I mean, his whole marketing campaign based on that. Hey, here you go.
But he got a grill, and I haven't got one yet.
You got to get you a frying pan or something.
I got to get me a frying pan, some utensils or something.
Round number 6 of our main event. It's been a good one so far. Close fight between Kermit Cintron and now the very active on the inside, Antwone Smith.
You know, Antwone Smith is in this fight, Joe. I mean, it's not a landslide here. I think these rounds, if it goes to distance, we still have rounds here left. And I think this fight's been some close rounds.
And the other thing about it, as we take a look at your card, with Cintron up 48-47. Another one of these fights where it depends on what the ringside judges are seeing. With all this inside work and the grunting and the animated display by Smith, does he get credit for simply throwing punches?
Well, you should, but you should get more credit if you're busier and also connecting. And I think that's important. I mean, Joe Galzaki fighting my fight, Joe threw a lot of punches. And if you're not throwing punches back, you can win the other round. The guy that's throwing the punches more active will win the round because he's at least trying to make a fight and make the fight active.
That was a split decision loss you suffered to Calzaghe back in April of 08. Here we are now in summer of 011. You're the light heavyweight champion of the world. Joe Calzaghe's retired. Could you ever have thought back in April 08 that you'd be saying this about your career at this point?
I'd never envision that. No, I definitely thought maybe I'll be out of boxing way by now, but I'm not, and I feel good, but I couldn't envision I'd be still fighting at 46 years old and winning at this level.
And you came right back with one of your best outings of your career after that against Kelly Pavlik. Hey, by the way, your reaction to Kelly Pavlik a week ago pulling out of a fight in his hometown the week of the fight?
Well, first of all, I think it was personal, and he revealed that it was personal in business. And I think that, when you go through things like that, it's normally legit with fighters of Kelly Pavlik's heart and mentality. So I hope he gets his stuff together. I hope that whatever is wrong, he fixes. And you know what? At the end of the day, he still, I believe, is a major player in boxing. And I hope he come back. And I said that when we fought, and I said that in between, and I say it now, is that if he gets his mind together and know what he wants to do, he can be a force in that division.
Well, Kermit Cintron is trying to be a force in his division again, trying to bounce back from that upset loss on July 9th with a good outing here against Smith. In wait for his next bout. Not a bad boxing scene here in St. Louis, led by Devin Alexander. We're glad to be here at the Maristar Casino. We had a spectacular knockout in our opening bout with Danny Williams. You can go to ESPN.com and view those highlights a little later on tonight. Kermit Cintron and Antwone Smith here in round number 7 of their scheduled 10-round main event.
He got some sweat on us because now they are punching. Well, at least Antwone Smith is throwing combinations to the body. He's trying to make something happen inside. Cintron have to go ahead and let his hands go, but he had to take a half a step back. He's fighting in too close, and he's a taller guy. Use your jab, use your reach, use all the things that you have as an advantage, not to your disadvantage.
Let's look at the CompuBox numbers, and you see the total punches very close in terms of landed. Now Cintron throwing more, but very close in terms of the connects according to CompuBox.
Again, Cintron, distance, distance, distance. If he continue to do this, he can box.
I love that moment from Cintron.
Yes, but he only give it to you in flashes, and then he's back to, again, in close, giving.
That just makes too much sense, though, doesn't it, Bernard?
Well, he giving Antwone Smith an opportunity to win the round or get back into the round again, and you don't want to do that. Once you make a good stand, you want to keep that good stand. You don't want to give the guy a chance to get his confidence back up, like he's doing now. Antwone Smith is through 4 or 5 combinations and sort of even this round up.
Yeah, digging to the body well there on the inside. But that one moment where you saw Cintron out in range and he's touching him with the jab and he splits it with the right hand, touches him with the jab again, just like right here. That's a beautiful range for him. And every time he's out there on range with the distance of that jab, he's controlling the fight with ease.
Absolutely. He has the reach. He has a long reach, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't use it. And you have to use it. You have to set it up right there, that distance. But now he grabs, he gets in close. You know, maybe he's a little tired. He threw a lot of punches, and he should be. But this is where you suck it up. You want to be champion, this is what champions are made of.
And Smith now working on the inside, letting his hands go. There's a right hand as Smith was tucked off to the left side that Cintron was able to land. Coming to the end of round 7. Got a close one. 3 rounds to go. Stay with us. It's been a fun fight night. As you can see, Antwone Smith has been pulling upsets on Friday night fights. Tonight, he comes in at the dog against the recent welterweight titleist, Kermit Cintron, and it's a close fight, Bernard.
Yeah, it's close, but you know, Kermit Cintron, when he sticks that jab and he stays out, Joe, you said it, you love that way he fights because he got room, he got combinations. Right now, he shouldn't be off the ropes. He should throw a combination step, spin off to the left, well, to his right, and then let punches go. But he has to not, he shouldn't let boredom set in when he's up there with Smith, because Antwone Smith is looking for a shot in between a peekaboo style to try to catch him in between his punches, and that's what he's trying to wait for.
Smith trying to land that left uppercut that time. Good job tripling up that left hand by Kermit. Was able to mix the hook in there just off the mark with that right uppercut.
This was Cintron should throw punches. When he make a miss, he made a good move, but he looked at him. He took a picture. You don't have to take a picture, let your hands go. He's thinking before you take a punch at it. That, you know, when you think that split second, you lost the mark. You know, you didn't get it. You're not going to get it.
The left hand to the body. Good combination by Kermit. Comes right back. Tries to create a bit of space and opens up again, and then sneaks that right hand around the left guard of Smith. And now Kermit on the attack. A burst of confidence and an assault by Kermit Cintron. Good moment here in round number 8.
Now, when Cintron stopped,
it's like a light switch.
Here comes Antwone Smith. He comes now, Antwone, and he looks under, try to get a shot in between of Cintron's punches. So now, you know, it's like Cintron is not mentally like I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. It's like he stops and wait and let Antwone comes in and get his shot.
Left hand to that belt line by Smith, and he goes down there and tests Cintron again. They will have 2 rounds to go. Which way will it go? Cintron and Smith, important fight. We're going to take an opportunity to check in with Brian Kenny.
Maris off that slugfest win over Vic Darchinyan. Finals of that tournament again, Las Vegas tomorrow night. Let's go back to the fight. Joe Bernard.
BK, I'm looking forward to that one. Abner Maris and Joseph Becco Bernard. Who do you like?
Oh, that fight there, that's a shootout. Whoever's the better condition and got the better plan will
Well,
win.
Becco, you heard Brian say he struggled to make weight at 118.
Yeah, but that doesn't look. After they get that 24 hours and he gets back into you know, his weight overnight, I don't think that's going to be a factor. I think it's going to be one of those ball burners. It's going to be back and forth action. And, you know, this fight is a pick 'em. I think the fight is a pick 'em fight. It's a fight that you must see, which is good for boxing.
Maris coming off the win over Vic Darchinyan. So that is tomorrow night. IBF, the bantamweight division's looking real strong. Possibly a showdown with Nonito Donaire down the road, the winner of that fight. Round 9 here is Smith and Cintron continue to test the body of each other. A stern warning from Mike England to get him up.
It was on the belt line. It was, you know, one of those calls that, you know, give or take, but it was a clean fight so far.
Little shoe shine from Antwone Smith. Kermit looking for a bit of separation for that right hand. Now right back to the inside.
You know, the fighting close as they've been fighting tonight. One thing for sure, they both in shape. They both came ready for this fight. They both came to win. And it's a nutrition fight. They inside. You know, Kermit is not really fighting 100% of his fight, but it shows that he comes in condition to do what he has to do to fight. I think he should be using his jab. He should be using his height. He should be in the center of the ring, never on the ropes. And Antwone Smith, I mean, come on, he's making Antwone fight a different fight. So
You know,
got to
you
give
made
him
the
credit
point
too.
earlier tonight, Bernard, when you said, hey, Kermit Cintron wanted to come back and fight immediately after being upset in July, where he was just lethargic. He just was not the way you're seeing him tonight. He just wanted to get that and put that in the rear view mirror. And you said he picked a tough guy to do it against. Smith doesn't go away. Smith is willing to work all night long and engage.
I mean, case in point is proof in the pudding. He's fighting, and he's there in Cintron face round by round. He might be losing a few rounds, but he's in the fight. I think Cintron is still winning, close, but
Ronnie Shields with a very strong message to Kermit Cintron. I want both hands moving. I want a strong round. I don't want him getting away with pity pat against you. This is one of those 3 minutes, no excuses moments, Bernard, isn't it?
oh, absolutely. Ronnie Shields let Cintron know that he didn't want to hear it. You got to go out there and you got to put the pressure on him and do the things that they worked on. So Ronnie Shields is actually, giving that language that there's urgency here, like he should, step it up a little.
You know, I get the sense from listening to Shields that he's sitting back as we are wondering how the ringside judges are seeing this. Are they giving credit to Antwone Smith for some of the work rate on the inside and the animated style and some of the shoe shining and flurries? Or are they seeing some of the work that Cintron's been doing, utilizing the jab when at range and maybe more of the effective punches on the inside?
It's a tough fight to score because, again, you got one guy, which is Antwone Smith. He's inside. He's making a fight. He's definitely making the sounds and the noise to show that he's making a fight. And then you got Cintron, who Kermit seemed like he's fighting Antwone off him. Antwone Smith is putting the pressure. Every round he's been putting the pressure. So, you never know what the judge is looking at. They might be looking at who's making a fight, who's pressing the fight.
Jackson Harper, Jerry Griffin, Barbara Madison, who's right opposite us. The three judges here tonight.
And right now, Antwone Smith is winning this round. Up to now, he's winning his round to me.
Now here's a moment where Kermit just needs to work. Instead, you see him putting his left hand behind Smith. Final minute. Critical fight in the career of both men. Smith, a couple of right hands, a left hand to the body, and just working hard with 30 seconds to go. Both men opening up that time. Who wants it more? Ronnie Shields was imploring Kermit Cintron.
Cintron looked like he's
cut there.
Yeah, he looked like he's cut on the right.
Just opened up.
Eyebrow. Yeah, right eyebrow.
You see it in the corner of the right eye as Smith was able to open up a cut on Cintron. Smith working right hard to the bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Jackson Harper scores it 98-92. Judge Jerry Griffin scores it 97-93. And Judge Barbara Madison scores it 96-94. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision from Carolina, Puerto Rico, Kermit Killer Cintron.